All right. Good evening. It's Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. Give us an anchor in time and space. Um,
So we're
yeah, we're
in
in
jail.
yeah, I was bouncing around. I was bouncing. That's a whole nother story we'll have to talk about at some point. I was bouncing around from people left and right up there at that conference. And it's either I just read this great message about the eclipse. I'm gonna share it because um this astrologer, she's very Scorpio, but she just says it like it is. So she says, people are going to be stirring up shit to make something happen as a misguided attempt at control. Let that not be you. You don't want to reflexively fill a void without vision. Anything that's meant to continue going forward won't need you to force it or prop it up. If it's not sustainable, it's dismantling on its own with or without your participation. Focus on heart centered, embodied presence, no matter what. Um,
Excellent.
yeah, so because I got up there, Avma, I haven't, over the years, I haven't been as involved in it as I probably should have. I was actually invited to apply as president of the board a couple years ago, and I'm like, it was COVID and I didn't want to mess with it and wanted to see how that all played out. But I may end up taking a board position because it's sad, it's falling apart, it's aging out, and there's no leadership, and
Oh,
it's it's really sad. It's a real strong. I talked to numerous people there who were like, this is what got me into holistic veterinary medicine. This is why I choose this path into holistic veterinary medicine. And it gives a support network for new veterinarians coming in and veterinarians to practice holistic veterinary medicine. It is the organization. Without this organization, veterinarians really don't have anything in terms of holistic veterinarians. And there was a lot that went on there that was really revealing to me on all sides. And so if it probably I'm right now I'm helping with the committee on the student chapters because that's really what got me involved, but we'll see how things go with this new, you know, with what happens. And see, I introduced myself to the new president of the board and everything else and said I would act as a liaison to get um, there's this big disconnect between big influencers online. Three of the big, we're talking Dr. Becker, Rodney Habib, and Judy Morgan were all present in West Palm and literally had nothing to do with the conference, which was, and I talked to Rodney personally. He came over and knelt down behind my chair to explain why. But I'm like, you guys, this has got to change. That was 5 years ago. You know, there's this big gap and we've got to work together. So I offered to be liaison between these different parties. We'll see what goes on, though. As I just read that message, we'll just see what goes on.
it's good of you, Josie. It's like, I feel the same way. Like these chapters that got us where we got to in our lifetime. And then you watch how they're just destroyed or going away or take themselves down, or there's intertwined stuff, or, you know,
Yeah,
it needs to organize for the betterment of what is so telltale right now, and that is the whole veterinary profession, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
if they
yeah,
don't get strong and show that they can,
yeah,
it's to me people need a place to be able to
yeah.
get together and have that
And there's just no leadership, and there's no leadership that's thinking broadly enough to bring in. I mean, like I had a 30-minute walking conversation with the new executive director, who's this corporate woman, and I said, "Listen, there's these influencers here. They're interviewing holistic vets. They have nothing to do with this conference. What is the problem? They have 2 million followers and all these pet parents and all this stuff, and yet there's no support for holistic vets. There's no support. Everybody's like, I don't have anybody in my area. I don't have anybody in my area. But where is the damn support supporting them up? A lot of them actually can't afford to take time off from their damn clinics and go to the hotel for 3 or 4 days, you know? So it's a big issue. And I ran around for 3 or 4 days, and then I had vendors coming up to me going, why doesn't the business office give us brochures, and we're willing to do this, willing to do that. I offer them also that if they will have a booth set up at VMX, which is the largest veterinary conference in the world in Orlando, that I would volunteer, because she kept coming back with the executive director. Well, we would have to pay somebody to go there, and we would have to do this. And so I tried to counter all of this stuff back. And I said, I will volunteer 3 days of my time, pay for my own hotel and my registration, and go sit at that damn booth for 3 days and talk to people about this organization and hand out brochures. So all you guys need to do is pay the initial fee of 900 and something dollars. She was going to get back to me. If that doesn't happen, I may put up a GoFund account on Facebook and say, let's earn the $900, go to the board president myself, and just get it done. There's nobody out there like who will step up to get things done. It just,
Rosie
yeah.
was on a rampage there. I
I
mean,
was
I
on a
witnessed her and
rampage.
watched her
I
every
was
day
just
and at the
like,
banquet and dinners.
she was like right beside me. But it's come on, people. And I went to their board meeting. Then half the veterinarians, they'd come to talk to me. They didn't even come to the board meeting. Then the people at the board meeting were like big fat toads sitting on a toadstool. Keep on doing anything. And they kept telling me about this strategic 5-year plan, and they were going to talk about it at the board meeting. I didn't hear anything about a strategic 5-year plan. But you know how it goes, Becky. I mean, these organizations, my God,
The weakest people in there to run them. This is what they do. They don't,
they
that
do.
board is weak. If they
Yep.
can't rally around what they're,
Yep.
to have all that knowledge in one place and not to help
Yes.
spread that, to build it, to keep the fire under it, to keep
Yes.
new people
Yes.
interested in
And
learning.
make bridges to the online social media. They have no social media presence. It's beyond. So I'm gonna see. I threw the ball in their court, and we'll just see what happens with it. But I'm not gonna worry my head off about it.
Absolutely. You
You
can't.
know.
You can't.
No, 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 no,
Big of
no.
a fry.
So, all right. So we're in this portal. It started with the eclipse on, when was that? The 7th.
Last year.
It was on the 7th. It was the 7th. And then we have one coming up this Sunday on the 21st. And so I started by doing like a whole card spread. I wish I had a camera. So I'm going to show you the cards card by card. So this is kind of what they call like a Celtic cross spread. And I did it for the second half of this cycle because we are like, we still have one big eclipse to go, and everything that has happened in the world and everything that's going on, it's shaken everything up. And this last day I was at the conference, this is one thing that hasn't made it very far into the news cycle among all the other things that have. But Emily Juncker was staying with me in the hotel. I think some of you know her from the group. She was here a few years ago. Um,
She lives near me. She actually helped me
yeah.
with one of my pets.
Oh, okay,
She's
cool. Yeah.
amazing.
So she was in Reverence way back when, and I've kind of been a mentor of hers. Well, she went to school at Auburn, and a retired large animal vet in Auburn was same age as I am, 59, was out in the Auburn City Park walking her dog on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. like I do, I go walk my dog on the park at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning, and this guy walked up to her and stabbed her to death, completely out of nowhere. Found the keys to her truck, somehow knew where her truck was. I don't know if she was near it, and took off in her pickup truck, and they found him like 3 blocks away. But it was another like man with a knife out of nowhere. Um, she told me about it because she knew the woman and was her large animal dairy veterinary professor. So it's just kind of, you know, it's like there's this weird there's weird like possession things. It's like these people are almost programmed or something. It's something very just odd. They found this guy in Miami Beach. Miami Beach police just yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago, standing on a street corner in the broad daylight with camouflage on, with a giant knife, like ranting and raving. And they called the cops, and he was like, "Just shoot me, just shoot me, just shoot me." And they ended up having to take him down with tasers because he was completely out of his mind. So
But back up, was her dog hurt?
I don't know what happened to her dog. I don't know.
First, I mean, yeah, that's where my
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But she was like literally just like stabbed to death. And it wasn't like an out of the way park. It was like downtown Auburn, and it's the park you know, Emily said that where they set up all the tents and do all this stuff and everything.
Oh, good. And
So
I walk my dog
I
at
mean,
midnight. I walk my dog at midnight through the cemetery. I think I'm
yeah,
safe.
there you go.
Very
See, that's why we get along so well. I like spending time in cemeteries at night myself.
I actually had a policeman stop me one night.
They're nice.
He stopped me and said, have you seen a guy about 5'10" with the dark hoodie walking around?" I'm like, no, have you?
God.
When you see him, will you call us? Jesus, that's the police. Yeah, okay, fine. All right.
Okay, so let's get back to the reading. So, the significator of this reading was I only got like 2 or 3 cards into this, and then I realized I had to share it with you guys. Was a card called, this is a Wildwood deck, called the Pole Star. And the Pole Star it's the North Star. It's the guiding star. Um, it's it's this person walking through this tunnel of trees and deep into the trees, and it just reminded me of like our forest journeys, walking into the forest. But then you have this pole star up above with all the stars encircling it. We're like walking literally under the center of the universe, and the stars are our guiding light. So it's the light that illuminates the darkness and illuminates the void. um and it's blessings that just radiate down across the abyss of the void and onto the earth. um Symbolizes universal law and higher spiritual knowledge and power. And it was used in ancient times. It was the navigational aid. It's how everybody sailed across the oceans, is knowing where that pole star is. So I think it's telling us that there is a point to everything, and there is a guiding light that we can focus in on. And also in Taoism, the North Star is a big deal because they talk about the Big Dipper and rotating around that northern star. And it's a very, very big deal in terms of it's almost like the point in the heavens of the cosmic chi of that central pillar of the microcosmic orbit. So, it's very interesting. These two guys who wrote this, they're like Druid, they're the Druid path. So there's an Irish bent to it too, but their quote about it is, the power of universal love is at work here within the individual and permeating a web of circumstance that will bring profound change and new spiritual hope. So there's a lot of, the death of Charlie Kirk it has woken up a lot of people. It's really hit people, I think, in the heart to really say, like, what are we freaking doing? What are we really doing? So on top of this is the main guiding light and main central card of the spread. And then we have what's called the crossing card. So it can be either a card that supports that or kind of is a difficulty challenge. And this card that came up is the Six of Vessels reunion. And I pulled this in one of our last meditation groups in terms of the earth element. And it's this mound of earth with these trees growing out of it, and it's a sacred well, because like the sacred wells are all around Ireland. And then these little white cups in the water, I'll put these pictures up, but they're like floating lights, like floating candles in the water coming out of this blessed well. And it's the Six of Vessels, which indicates emotional reunion. So it can be ancestral ties, karmic ties, but it can be a coming together of a band of comrades, brotherhood, or loyal friends gathering in acknowledgement of a shared bond. Reunion of the individual with their true nature, and a clearing and a self-empowerment, which is reminded of like us coming together here in this group. Like when I was in AVMA, I think it's really time for people with shared interests and whatever to come together, and coming together on a greater level, because we've been like, the powers of being COVID have been so isolating and stuff, and we have to turn that around. So then we look at like the conscious overriding influences over the situation. And this one I might need to look up too. Polestar. Reunion. And then yeah, this so this is the Six of Stones, and it's called exploitation. I wish I could get up there where there's not. And there's this older man and like his daughter in those mounds behind him are actually honeybee hives that are all dead and falling apart. Like the bees have died in them, and they're abandoned. And then there's these like empty bowls and these broken farm tools and like these barren farmlands that where the systems, like the agricultural systems and everything, are just breaking down and falling apart, and where resources have been literally kind of like raped off the land and done in an unsustainable manner. So it talks about the selfish or foolish overuse of non-sustainable resources, and imbalance in work or business that is damaging to yourself or the environment. We can pretty much see how our whole world is kind of there at that point. And so that's kind of the conscious overriding. And then the unconscious influences, that which we don't really know, like that's down underneath in the dream world, is a very powerful card. Where is it? Called the Blasted Oak. And it's a combination of the Tower card and the Hanged Man, but it shows this oak tree, like being struck by lightning and a branch breaking off of it. Lightning would be like Uranus coming down, this branch breaking, and this man just going flying like down off the cliff. Um, but there's fire out of his ankles and out of his wrists at the same time. So it's called the blasted oak. Um, and the blasted oak says the figure falls from a severed branch of the lightning struck oak. Flames dance around the falling figure, turning the hair to flame and burning the bonds that appear to have tied the person to the branch. As the figure falls, attached to neither tree nor earth, the powerful lightning energy charges the very air with dancing fingers of light and seeks to earth itself by passing through the figure and shooting from the outstretched fingers that seem to be reaching for the ground. Just as the universe has the power to create, so it also has the power to destroy. The sudden catabolic power of natural catastrophe and disaster is almost unimaginable. With a sideways flick of its tail, the hurricane can uproot a bridge, just as a shudder in the earth's crust can reduce whole cities to rubble and send tidal shockwaves around the earth. On the human level, we build our seemingly indestructible edifices of theory, technical endeavor, and civilization, believing they are immovable and eternal. We wrap ourselves in the trappings of power and position, but in the end, we own nothing. We only borrow for the time we are here. All we truly have is what we have learned. Um, and then he goes on, for those who have climbed the tree and lashed themselves to a branch, the fall may be long. So too, the arrogance and pretension of material life may be torn apart by a single act of nature or fate. But the fire that blasts the limb also burns the bonds that have held us in a position of false security. Um, Just as a hangman is caught in a state of divine sacrifice and linked to the threefold death, the tree itself is shaken and scarred. Likewise, the tower is shattered by the storm, and believing in the illusion of material power can only end in spiritual isolation, stagnation, and collapse. Um, but even as we fall, the power that floods our senses with pain also cleanses and burns away the illusions and falsehoods. As our hands reach for the stable earth, the power grounds itself through us. The essence of true strength and enduring spirit cannot be bought with gold or position or grandiose esoteric theory. It is found in the ashes and flames of nature's own wild card. And then the trauma may leave you stunned and confused, but the fiery blast that sent you falling to earth has also jolted you from a state of trance that allowed you to avoid dealing with profound and fundamental issues. So, yeah. I mean, it just explains a lot. It's like sometimes we can go along in our lives and just kind of plod along and not think too much. And then it takes something really big to shake everything up, you know? Um, and this is kind of the first, it's only about the third card. I just started working with this deck, but these cards were just so profound. Um, and then if we look at hopefully, there's these openings that happen with like big tragedies. And I remember feeling like this whole thing that happened with Charlie Kirk, for me, it took me back to 9/11. And there was a period of time right around 9/11, right after it happened in the first few days. And I remember I was sitting and meditating, and um, there was like this opening of light of the world coming together, of countries calling up and, like, sending their condolences to United States, China, and Russia, and all of these things. And there was a point where there could have been like unity, and I knew it wasn't going to last, but it was there. And it's like this situation too, if we can just take that place that's opened up in our hearts and try to shine our light out from there for as long as possible, you know. Um, so then we go to the recent past. So we're going to do a card for the recent past, and then the significator was where we are now, and then what we're moving into. So the recent past is interesting. It's the Three of Stones, creativity, but it's this woman standing by these like standing stones, and it's like she's standing on the edge of the void, about ready to step out, but all of her her limbs and everything have become a tree trunk. Like, she's so connected into the earth. She's drawing up that earth energy, but she's almost terrified because of that, taking that creative step forward. And that's where the recent past coming into this. So that's another thing, is we can, and all the work, you guys, all the work that we've been doing in this group and with meditations and everything and connecting in with the earth energy, we can take all that and to use to be able to step out and put some good out into the world, to maybe even change the trajectory of things or make something good come out of it. And then going into the next one, we did this one, and then this is interesting too. The moving into it is the balance card, and it's two snakes, but they look like they almost have dragon heads, a black and a red coiling up around this tree limb. And then there's like this little face down here that's part of the spirit of the tree. Um, and finding that balance, especially coming from the year of the dragon into the year of the snake and all that transformation, and coming from a point of balance. I want to look it up and see what else they say. Um, Well, it begins with the description of this card, which is very interesting. The polarized energies of the land interweave and intertwine around the staff of the heavens. We all carry our own staff of the heavens, which is that central pillar that generates the pulse of light. Red and white serpents coil around a great tree. Um, and then the human face of the wildwood, which is a face in the tree, they say has both a light and a dark side. The balance between humanity and nature is vital. And it just talks about the arteries and nervous system of the earth being as sensitive, as complex as that of any living organisms. Um, And we have succeeded in shifting this delicate balance from one of finely tuned interactions to a malignant and polluted environment. The ancient peoples of the earth long ago recognized their dependence on the ecosystem of the planet. Modern society has been completely detached from that reality, and it's just like consuming. So temperance is the traditional name of this card, and it represents a state of inner strength and tranquility from which deeper knowledge of the self and the universe can be absorbed and contemplated. It is the key to the higher self. Both on the personal level and as a species, we must strive to find a balance. You must be balanced and patient. The time to rest. is right to rest and contemplate all the facets of your existence. To continue now, you must be still and calm. Now, this is the card moving into the recent future. Finding the inner balance that will enable you to see beyond the present state is a process of trust and confidence in your own strength. These facets may include the parts of your psyche that you would rather not deal with, but no amount of denial will rid you of the need to absorb and reclaim them. Balance is absolutely necessary to free the inner self from the fears and self-doubts that keep us spiritually deaf, dumb, and blind. So I think that's just a really good card to meditate on in terms of where we can try to strive for personally amidst everything that's around. Because in the bigger picture, things happen, but it's like our personal response to them that really matter. And there are opportunities for us to further our spiritual evolution. Um, and then this was interesting. Then I just picked a card for the body, mind, and spirit. And for the body, for the physical, I got it's called the King of Bows and it's called Adder, and it's all these snakes coiling around each other. And I guess the male adder snakes will do that, not as mating, but like as this dominance type thing. And here we are in the year of the snake, but this card specifically, I'm going to look this up too, it specifically talks about the serpentine earth energies rising from the ground into the air and intertwining as male adders struggle for dominance. So they can also represent magical power, balance, which we just saw, and the healing arts. So we're moving, even though this is like it's the snake year and the snake crawls down along the earth, so it's a very earth year, we have all of these big outer planets have been changing signs into air signs. So Uranus is going into Gemini, which is air. Pluto is in Aquarius, which is air. And then what's the other? Oh my gosh, to think about it for a minute. So we actually have a big air triangle happening, and that air energy has to do with like the internet, things flying through the air, like the all the airplane things that have been going on, our mind, and so much information flooding back and forth. So that's just kind of interesting how we can take the serpent energy of the earth rising into the air to bring about healing and use it. Um, the reading points is it indicates maturity, strength of resolve, energy, and wisdom, and drawing on our inner wisdom and drawing on the wisdom of the earth. Your leadership is unchallenged, your path direct, your goals realized. And then questions to think about for this is like, and remember, this is the card for the physical body too. So it's kind of like being in physicality. Where do you need to take charge? Where's your enthusiasm leading you? What helps bolster your self-esteem? And then the card I got first, so that's Earth and the body. The card I got from the mind is the Page of Bows. So, and this is this little creature called a stoat. It looks like a weasel. And this is our mind you. So, like weasels, wolverines, ferrets, those kinds of creatures, they move really fast and they dart in and out. They have a really fierce hunting instinct. And this one can live underground. So, it's perception of truth is really important with this, gifts. looking at your perceptual gifts. Questions are, who's offering you opportunities? What opportunities are arising? What is the advantage of staying with you are or moving into a new opportunity? There's the stoat also has strong mystical links to the sovereignty of the land. So that's our minds, probably like kind of shifting here and there as so much is changing. I see it as our minds kind of almost, like this is happening and then that's happening. And do I do this? Do I do that? So it can be kind of confusing and overwhelming too. And then for our spirit, and this fits right into the energy we're moving into, is it's in this deck, it's called the Guardian, but it's like the Death card. And it's a skeleton, but it's like a skeleton of a Neanderthal, like half ape man, like an ancestral Neanderthal. So it's like an ancestral guardian. And this is a card indicating Samhain, which we're moving into, and the dark of the year. But it's they say it's a skeleton of a great cave bear, actually. I didn't realize that till I just looked at it, the description. So here's bear medicine coming at us in our face. The bleached white skeleton of a great cave bear stands sentinel in the night, guarding the entrance to a cave. The guardian spirit of the beast challenges those who would enter the cave of ancestral memory without understanding the nature of their own darkness. Within the cave's open maw, filled with jagged and sharp stalactites, is an unknown and untrodden path. Its destination is shrouded in gloom. No inner light burns to show a way through. Before the path may be followed, the guardian must be faced and mastery of one's own fears achieved. So this is kind of like the guardian at the threshold, which in spiritual circles and shamanism, like you have to come to terms with your own fears internally and our own darkness. But if we look at what's going on around us, all of this darkness rising up and being uncovered is asking people to realize that that exists in the world, that exists within us, and to because we can't do anything about it to heal it or integrate it or transform it until we acknowledge it. The guardian stirs irrational fears from the muddy bottom of the human subconscious and fills the timid soul with foreboding. He is charged with an inhuman and unseen sentience, feeding off fear and panic with a malevolent joy. But within this sardonic and chaotic energy lie wisdom, courage, and strength. The survival instinct was geared for fight or flight, yet we have learned to rationalize our darkest fears and deal with unknown dangers with intellectual insight. As we have evolved our understanding of the unknown, we have learned that no diabolical or supernatural force in the universe is as frightening as the human imagination. If the guardian is frightening, it is because we are frightened by our own reflection, our own dark shadow, and it is this element of ourselves that we must master. So it's pretty intense, especially speaking. Um, so the reading points are say a challenge may have arrived in your life. The situation may be very complex. It may even have profound implications for your life and how you deal with the world. It may manifest itself in the form of a profound inner realignment or the facing of some physical outer predicament. Whether from the labyrinth that is a human mind or from some external source, the challenge that presents itself now must be seen for what it is, an opportunity. If something has been hidden or repressed, if a situation has been left to decay or become unhealthy, Now is the time to take control of your fears and deal with the insecurity with courage and integrity. Always be aware that however threatening or difficult the situation is, you can only become stronger and more resilient from the experience of undertaking and accepting inner darkness. So that's that.
That little scout that you showed the picture of has been in my dreams for 3 nights.
Really?
Can you put the picture up one more time?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll take pictures of these and put them up in the group. But it's this little like weasel kind of creature.
Like that, 3 nights in a row. Oh,
Really?
yeah.
I've been having really intense dreams too. They settled down a little bit, but
Yeah.
I
Settled
I ha
too, but they've been crazy. I mean, it really
yeah.
interesting, not really deep and really crazy and lots going on, and I'm okay. I'm I feel myself like watching what I'm seeing and seeing people from like my 7-year-old self.
Oh wow. Wow. It's like
And
you're having a whole
that little that little thing is like runs through my for the
timeline of
nice. Yeah. It's there's a lot of message coming
wow.
by like 3 and 4 and 5-year-old self that I'm not 100% sure with who all.
Wow.
Yeah.
You should maybe like journal about it or ask like sit down and talk to the have like a dialogue with the 3 or 4 or 5-year-old self and ask them what, you know,
Yeah.
what they have to tell you or what they might need from you. Sometimes you can go into those spaces with them and really and just be present. Sometimes they need like kind of encouraging to come out those parts of ourselves too. Yeah, there's I think with this eclipse portal and you guys were coming, that's right. It's so intense and crazy because we're the 21st is that the 21st is the equinox, which is kind of a big deal because it's it's a balance between light and dark days and nights. I'm trying to see when fall equinox 2025 is. Okay, the equinox is exact on September 22nd, 2:19 p.m. Eastern time. So, yeah, that eclipse is like a few hours before. And there's a big shift, there's a big I feel and people have said this, there's heart openings happening for people right now like they've never happened before, and there's a shifting in how people are, like, being like, "Wow," was even talking to somebody today, and he's like, a guy was repairing one of my clients' bathrooms, and he's just kind of like this Eastern European worker guy, and he's like, social media. It's like my phone broke the other day, and I'm just not getting it fixed. It's ruining our country, our minds, everything. It was just like I'm hearing these messages come from people that are very, very interesting. So that's I'll put these cards up and kind of put an explanation if you want to look at them. Um, and obviously, I did not think I literally thought this was like a Neanderthal skeleton. I did not realize this was a bear skeleton. Um, so bear medicine is something we can really lean into right now, and I'll come out with some more information with that, and we can take a journey with the bear medicine because bear medicine also has to do with that North Star. And Ursa Major, Ursa is bear, and Ursa Minor. And so I took this is the Druid Plant Oracle book, and the for a plant ally, I got the bramble, and these it's like a blackberry bramble that grows on the hedgerow. with lots of stickers, and you can't get through it, and it's kind of how reality is right now, trying to like it's best to just sit still and calm so you don't get poked than to try to weed your way through the bramble. Um, what do they say anything? So it's actually rootedness, boundaries, tenacity, like having it is protective. So they say the roots are super tenacious because they travel long and deep, and that may be part of like the bear medicine and going into our ancestral roots and calling upon our ancestors for some help right now. So the bramble, it's not going to be pushed around and it's not going anywhere. um and it's good boundaries and protection. And then I picked the fairy oracle from Brian Froud, who's like the original fairy guy. He wrote this book. It's back in like the 80s, 70s on fairies. And the card I picked out of here is like a lot of his cards have little pictures of fairies and hobgoblins, but I picked the very card number one, which is unity. And it's like going into that light from that pole star coming down. Um, it's union, mystical experience, and spiritual home. Unity comes first and last, and that's pretty much what I got in this reading. The very first card is a pole star, and then this card is the last card. In between, we have the illusion of duality, which we all believe in for a very long time. This apparent duality is ultimately shown to be an illusion, but it is an illusion through which we must pass, through which we learn and grow, and then once again return to unity. You may have had mystical experiences where you've had true union with other beings, or even with the unity, the one who is all. Such experiences change our lives, effectively showing us that the saying "we are all one" is not just a pious belief, but it is a statement of actual fact. We are not separate like the flowers in a field, but are one. The only way to reach this awareness is to surrender the small, everyday self to the larger spiritual self, which is unity. Experiencing full oneness with the unity is transformative. Um, yeah, so it's just going back to that, knowing that we're all one, even though everything is so polarized. No. All right. So with that, does anybody have any comments? And we could go into a meditation and maybe just either meditate on. I did some work last month with this Reiki shaman teacher I'm working with, and we worked with star energy. So a lot of times we're working with earth energy or stone energy or different energies, and we actually worked with star energy. And then the whole star came up and the bear medicine came up. And bear medicine actually came up in a journey I took with her as well. Um, and it may be reminding us that even though we're so immersed in this, all this craziness happening all around us right now, there are greater forces at work that are looking over us, that are protecting us, and that are trying to, get down through and send a different message through. So that's where I am on that. Um, so maybe we could take for our meditation is call in that star energy and bring that in and down and have an experience with that tonight. for whatever needs healing in our own personal lives and in the world of large as our sphere of influence moves out. Because that's actually these profound, profound eclipse portals. It's easy to pull in energies like that and utilize them for good too. It's much easier right now to do that. So I don't know if Norma had to go. Norma, are you there? She may have had to go.
No, I'm here. I just had to go rescue something.
Okay, that's what I figured.
I
Okay,
forgot.
I don't know if we can just go into the meditation if everybody's okay with that, or if people need to get up and stretch a little bit and go to the bathroom or something. We'll just do like a 20-minute meditation or 15-minute, whatever you guys feel like.
Sounds good.
Okay. So yeah, so I was saying we could tap into the star energy and bring that in. Star energy, we often think about it too, and is as like fire, but it's really stars. Like our central sun is a giant star, and stars are actually made up of fusion. It's nuclear fusion where elements are coming together really fast and exploding internally. So it's almost like they talk about the free energy machines. They haven't been able to figure out how to use fusion for an energy source. But it's like a free energy source that just keeps going and going and going and going and going. So we can kind of have that in the backs of our minds as well
Well,
as
actually, they have figured it out. Somebody has, but a few people have, but every time they try to bring it out, they get
yeah,
suddenly unalived. Yeah. So it's there. No,
yeah, exactly. There's a lot it's there, but it's almost like things have to get so bad. I don't, that's that duality though, because there really is these forces of chaos and darkness that are really, some people are saying it's kind of in their last throes, which I hope to God it is, but they're really at work now. At least I think they're more visible in our faces now than they normally are. Um, but so we can bring in the star energy for ourselves and for the rest of the world. Just give Becky a minute to come back. And you can get comfortable in your seat, and we'll go ahead and just comfortable in our seats and have our feet on the ground and our sits bones on our seats, on our chairs. And sometimes there's a lot of energy out there right now, even going into meditation. You can kind of feel it. It's like I feel really buzzy right now. But if we remember the earth beneath us and what's supporting us, what's holding us up, what's holding the seat and the chair underneath us, and this big planet that sends us so much nourishment and motherly energy and gives us a home, a place to live and walk. We can bring our attention to our breaths and just take some big deep breaths in. Fill all the way down into our abdomen and then just let it go. We'll take one more big deep breath in. Let everything go from the day, from the weeks, whatever you need to do. You can just be here present in this sacred space that we've created for ourselves to be in. And start watching your breath and start watching your breath move up and down your central channel, from the top of your head or your nostrils in, all the way down to your sits bones, and then all the way back up as you exhale out the top of your head. So move it down and then let it move all the way back up and out. As you watch this breath, chi, this energy flow in and out, start bringing your awareness to that central channel and see what color might be. If it's just clear, if it's white, golden, pink. As the energy moves moving up and down, also see how wide it is. If it's just like a thread, or if it's like wide as your vertebrae, or even enclosing your whole body. It could be wider than your entire body. We'll just watch our breath and sit with this column of energy and light moving up and down within us. And you can imagine it moving, extending down into the earth. And as it moves upward, imagine it going all the way out the top of your head. That your body is suspended with this stream of air and light and energy running through you. And then on your next breath, as you follow it up and out the top of your head, ride that beam of energy and light all the way up into the heavens and into outside the atmosphere of the earth, breaking through into space, into that void, and see your personal column of energy headed straight towards this big bright star in the heavens. The star beams may even come down to meet you. To see what the star feels like, or what if it has a message, if its energy wants to flow back through you, down through your body and into the earth. Draw your attention back to your breath. And find your breath moving up and down your central channel again. Feel it filling your heart center up with a warm energy, warm, loving energy. You might even your hands over your heart. Send yourself some love and compassion and protection. And Buddhism and Taoism both say that in the very center of our hearts is a sparkling light like a diamond. It's so bright. And that light will never go out. Even when we're in the darkest of places, we can find that light within our hearts. That light is connected to our Buddha nature and to our own Christ consciousness within, to that connection of oneness and unity. Take some big breaths of that star energy and thank the star. And you can gradually come back and flutter your eyes open. Mm. Mm. It's a lot of goodness out there that are helping us, guys. Mm. I felt a very strong pull when I connected with the star energy. I all of a sudden my body, it was like every piece within every one of our red blood cells is a piece of iron. And it was like every single little piece of iron in my body was magnetized to the center of the core of the earth. And it was just sucking my body down to the earth, like saying, you have to be embodied and be here now. And I think that's part of, being alive in this time and being embodied on this planet in this time is we can all be channels to bring good energy, positive energy in to help out, to help in the balance, you know, like the boots on the ground, as I say.
That's why I have size 12 feet. That's
That's we need. That's why I wear boots a lot of the time. It's like because sometimes it just gets hard, and you just want to be. You're like, what the hell? Really? Can't we just like?
that's right. I have 5 pair of cowboy boots and 2 pair of really the Muck Company Muck boots. And that's it's either that or flip-flops or bare feet for me all year long now. It's just like boots of every type because I feel like I really need them. Of course, I
I'll
do.
take a picture of my one of the top shelves in my closet of my collection of boots.
Well,
It's,
we're walking
you
through
know,
physical and metaphorical shit all the time. So yeah.
yeah, gets pretty deep too. Yeah.
At different
Yep.
at different times throughout the day, I've been just kind of, even if it's just for a couple seconds, imagining that like the roots going down for my feet into the earth.
Yeah. That's a really good thing to do, Mardell. It helps. I'll put up that picture, that one of the picture of creativity is like the roots are growing out of her dress down into the earth. Yeah. We can get a lot of strength from that and centeredness so that we can be like the eye in the middle of the storm, the eye of the hurricane, and just because so much of it is just, the way media is and all this stuff just whirling around. It gets crazy. And it's almost like watching a train wreck. Like sometimes you have to, at least I think you have to tune in long enough to know what's going on, but then not let it grab hold of you.
Amazing the stuff that we know are just nothing but pure unadulterated lies, and they sit there with every bit of passion and tell these horrific lies, and I just like some days
Yeah.
I just want to scream. I just it's like God, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's like there's a splitting of the world. And I'm hearing that Dolores Cannon talked about that years ago. And I am hearing like podcasters and news people talking about that now, literally saying there's this world and then there's this world. And it's crazy. But
And then
all of it, that is like all controlled by media, though. It's like depends upon what media station you listen to and the messaging that gets out too.
And
But
what's really weird is now, I mean, I just scrolling through something because, and I do that every
yeah,
4 times a day just to see, because there's so much
that's
happening
what I mean.
quickly.
Yeah, just to see
But,
what's going on.
but then I flipped this thing and I'm like, Joe Scarborough was actually talking sense and defending like us. And I'm like, okay, this is upside down world for sure. And Bill Maher has gotten even more. I mean, he's just, I don't know. It's like they're having some epiphany. I don't know what's going on.
There's I saw Bill Maher pop up a couple times. I just got chills when you said that. But there are epiphanies happening. That's what I mean. Like people are really looking into their hearts and saying, wow, this is not the path we want to be on,
But doesn't it
you
make you
know?
wonder those people who, whether they're looking into their hearts, their souls, or the bottomless pit where they have no heart or soul, and they're just not seeing it and they're not getting it, and they're doubling
I
and
know.
down on the
They're tripling down. I
crap.
know.
Oh my
I
God,
know.
it's crazy.
I didn't watch much of it, but I watched a couple clips today, but it's really sad because they're tied into this whole spin of, and they can't see. I think what worries me is it's like the younger generations who've grown up on social media and the computer. That's where it's coming from. And they have lost all touch with, it's with reality. Like this is not a movie we're living in. You
Oh, and,
know,
I
the
mean,
blood spurt was not a Hollywood,
but they
you
don't
know.
know, anything. Like this one girl I saw,
I don't
it was one of the Charlie Kirk clips that they, and I watch him. I watched him almost every day anyway because I thought he had a really good grip on what was really going on in the country, especially with the younger people. But this
Yeah,
girl, and she wasn't all that young, but she's saying, calling him a fascist, and he very calmly said, "Well, what is it?" And he said, "Well, why do you say that? What is it?"
yeah,
And she said, well, I'm not an expert in that. I don't know what it is, but I know you are one. And I'm like, oh my God. How do you
That's
do
where
that?
they are. That
Can't-
is
can't-
where they are. They like I've had certain people who were friends online, and they're into this whole thing of like they make it sound like we're living in the middle of World War II. And and I'm like, where is the fascism?
I
Where
know.
is it really? You are able to get online and speak whatever you want to speak out and have your temper tantrums and do everything else. You're not being arrested for that. You're free to do that, you know? It's
But
really crazy.
you know what's scary too on the other side? Is all these people who are now screaming and yelling, and a lot of conservatives who are screaming and yelling that people who cheered Charlie Kirk's death, for instance, they should lose their jobs, they should do this, that, and they shouldn't be able to speak. And I'm going, but wait a minute, as vile and nasty as it is, if we start closing
No.
that
And
down,
and
we're done.
Charlie
And
Kirk would not have
he'd
wanted
be
that
really
closed down.
pissed. He would be
Yeah.
very pissed. Yeah.
He would be very pissed because that's not what it was about. He was about having debates and discussion
I heard
and
some.
letting all sides be heard, you
Yeah,
know?
I heard something today where something like somebody was all happy about that there have been like 10,000 people who've lost their jobs in various industries because they were fired because of their remarks about that. And
Hmm.
on the one hand,
I
well,
know.
good enough for him
I
because,
know.
but on the other hand, we're like, oh God, no, because this is what happens, next year.
It'll bounce.
When it's
Yeah, it'll bounce back. And it's finding that balance point because we're in the it's finding that balance point instead of, but it's like that, those 3 days I was talking about, like around 9/11, there's this time for really opening up, but then one side, it goes back into this ping pong game, you know?
Well, we didn't stand a chance on getting unity then because that had to really come be solidified and supported from the top. And since the people in the top of our government obviously knew what that really was all about, and it wasn't
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was like,
going
yeah, a
to
whole
allow
fake
that to
thing.
happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we've been totally manipulated and
But
played like fools forever.
yeah. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And now, the like a person, it's just ironic that the person, and then it's ironic about what's coming out with the shooter, the whole thing. But yeah,
Well, I think
it,
it's up to us to just stand for, I've said this for a long time, speak your truth, stand firm in it. Don't try to shove it down anybody else's throat, but don't
yes,
anybody
yes,
anybody shake that. And that's all we have is
yeah,
our firm
yeah.
belief in ourselves and
And
our
standing, being in our integrity and in that center place, you know. Yeah, I mean, people losing their jobs and stuff, it all depends. I mean, if there are news people out there saying those things, it's
and
like, what the
teachers.
hell, you
It's
know? And
the word.
teachers.
Yeah.
Well, and this one lady, she put up this video. Oh my God. I think, oh, it was Rogan, I think did no, somebody had it on. I forget who had it on. They were these She had like a 6-year-old and 8-year-old little girl, and they came running into her living room. Did you see that? And they
The
were
best
like,
news.
"Oh,
She's the best
something
news.
really great happened
Oh,
today."
I saw
And
that today.
they said, "Oh, what, mommy? What happened?" And and then the one said, she was like, "Well, guess." And the one little girl was like, "Oh, did did President Trump get shot and killed?" And then she's like, "No, it was the next best thing that could have happened." And they said, "Oh, did JD Vance get shot and killed?" And they were like, "No, that's the third best thing that could have happened." Well, did Elon Musk get shot and killed? No. And then I don't even remember what it was. It was some
Taylor
stupid
Swift's
thing.
getting married, or somebody's getting married. Some celebrity.
But it just was a total example of programming that goes on, whether one side or the other. It's like, you know,
How do little 6 and 8 year olds come up with that? Not on their own, that's for sure.
no, it's
Uh,
programmed. It's programmed.
I,
It's really,
I was
but
really appalled when I heard that today. I thought,
yeah.
"That's- yeah."
Yeah, it's really hard, and then you have to strike a balance, like, you can't just go out and start firing all these people, but then look what they did. Look at all of us who didn't get the damn vaccine, and we're living like we were afraid we weren't even gonna be able to go in and buy groceries and stuff. No, no apologies, nothing like that has ever been put out there. Or people who lost their jobs because they refused to get vaccinated. There were lots and lots of people who lost their jobs,
Yeah.
you know? It's so, but we
Well,
can't turn around and do, I don't know.
but the ones who lost their jobs because they didn't get vaccinated were still better off than the ones who lost their lives because
Oh
they.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's the thing. We got to make a choice. And, I don't like this horrible crap that's going around, but if we stop
But
somebody
there's
from
free
being able to
speech.
say that's right.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, if we
And
start
that's what Charlie Kirk was all about. That's what his whole thing was about. Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And he even said, like if we stop talking, that's when violence happens.
absolutely. Yeah.
You
And so,
know.
and you wonder how
So
some of these people, these ultra liberals, can take what he said and the way he said it and portray him as being the racist and the
it's
fascist and the this
it's
and that.
you
But
know
what
why
the
this
hell
is
is wrong?
Why? Because they didn't hear him say it. That's why I always tell people when I talk to them, they're not listening to him speak. They are listening to their news station person
Or
or
that little
some
clip.
third party or a podcaster or some third party interpreting what he's saying. They did not listen to him directly. I got into it with a woman in Ireland about that, and she was like, and I said, "Listen, I don't listen to news media. If I want to hear what somebody says, like Donald Trump or JD Vance, I'm listening to their speech. I'm listening to them directly. It's out there. It's on recording. You can't take what somebody's interpreting what they said.
You can't take just a
I
little
mean,
snippet of it either, and because they twist it.
no, no. Like I don't know how many meetings of like Trump has his entire cabinet meeting taped for that reason. I mean, I've sat through some boring governmental stuff, but you can hear what's going on. And I don't want to have somebody interpret it for me, and say, oh, well, such and such had this kind of look on his face. So he's obviously thinking this as he's saying this. Oh,
But
no.
when you listen to it, it's like the Senate the day after Charlie was killed, and they asked for a moment of silence on the House floor, and the
Yeah. And then
Democrats
they
jumped up
Democrats, yeah.
screaming, saying "fuck no." But the Polish Parliament had a minute of silence for Charlie Kirk. The Polish Parliament, but not our own government. I mean, we're upside down crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, but there's enough. I think there's enough in there turning it around, hopefully.
I wish I had that faith. I think they're all compromised in some
Well,
way.
they're all compromised in some way, but we got to be, it's just like the board members of Hoffman. We got to have something. Because are you going to go up there? Any person that isn't compromised is not going to put themselves in that position to do
I've always
anything.
said the only really good
They're
politician
not going to
is
do it.
the one who lost, because then they're not beholden to anybody. They don't, they're
Yeah, or they're one who doesn't even run to begin with,
exactly.
because to run to begin with, you have to, you
Yeah.
know.
Gotta
I
sell
mean,
your soul.
I'm literally seeing that in the holistic animal field with those with a lot of followers and power, and then they end up not being able to come out and say certain things. And I'm like, I don't, I will always just, I don't care. I'll stay on the sidelines. It's a crazy lady to be able to speak my truth, because when that starts becoming, you become compromised because of your position and because of the following and building all that up, you become compromised.
I would rather have
It's,
very little material wealth or possessions in this world, but to have my soul intact. That's why I walked away from a marriage with $1 million a year income. I could have stayed, but I walked away from that, and that was my turning point 30 years ago. And I said, I'm done with this crap. So if I
yeah,
if I walked away from that, there's nobody who's going to get me. But thank you.
yeah, but yeah, everybody's here on this planet for a different walk. a different type of earth walk, you know. So that's what it
Okay,
is.
so on a totally different note, I have to ask everybody else, am I the only one that sings? Because I'm going to give you a new nickname, Miss Josie. I'm going to give you
Why?
a nickname, Groucho. Oh, not because of an attitude or grouchiness, but only because this whole time your eyebrows have been like up and down, like, and it reminded me of Groucho Marx, how he used to do that thing, his eyebrows. It's something in the, it's something, I don't know what,
In
am
the light
I
or
the
in
only
the
one who's seeing this?
I'm not,
It's
well, I don't know. I do actually see something every once in a while, but I thought it was
it's
the
like right here.
light there.
yeah, it's
Probably the light.
yeah, it was just so funny, and I
Like that Groucho Marx eyebrows.
my friends are going up and down, and all I could think of was Groucho Marx. I had just, oh, I just thought it was a light moment. Yeah.
That's kind of like a pic. Me and Julie running around with crazy hats on, and you should have seen the dance floor, though. Oh my goodness, we had like a really good time. Dr. Shea was out there dancing with his wife, and
Well, I'm
yeah,
so
it was a
glad.
good time.
I'm
It
so
That's
was a good
glad that you
time.
were restrained enough, though, that I didn't have to go get bail money
Yes.
because I was
what
worried for a while.
having that kind of, that's what it's all about, letting it, letting yourself have
Yeah,
a great time.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's so
yeah.
good everybody did that. It's so good for all of you. I mean, it's like I
Well,
just
that conference, that's a tradition at that conference. They have at their banquet, they always have a DJ and everybody's out on that dance floor acting, just
But the
dancing.
wild one was Heather O'Leary. Oh my God. The
She
woman,
was so
it was
crazy.
like she was coked up or something. I
And
was
then
like,
there was,
did
I
not
mean, there was
expect
a
that.
lot of wild ones. Dr. Shay's wife and daughter were out there and they were like dancing for a long time.
And he
It
was
was
just
so
behind them
cute.
moving, but
Yeah,
she was like, the wife was full speed ahead.
he
know
was.
because that generation music is so important. I mean, if we had
Yeah,
all those songs that what we came through, it came
yes.
like the greatest time in music, I think.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Well, they played the 60s, the
this
70s, the 80s, the 90s, like all the way through.
it's like church, really. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah,
like church,
it
right?
is.
So you get that feel good, and you get out.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
we lived that time, which was really great. Older people have like the jazz and the instrumentals and the
Yeah.
Louis Armstrong and all the but we
Glenn Miller,
had the movement music
rock and roll.
stuff.
Back when
Rock and
music was
roll.
music. I mean, they don't make music anymore. I listen to this stuff and I just, it's, it's
Well,
not
the
pleasant.
pop stuff is really, the pop stuff
Yeah,
is pretty bad. Yeah.
They don't make
But
music like they did when we were young inside, girl.
so blessed.
yep. All right. Well, thank you guys. So we're gonna schedule that thing to do the Moxa, and I'll put up like where to find Moxa, Mardell. I think you can even buy some off of Amazon, honestly. And then I'm gonna put up we'll do a thing on bear medicine coming up too. And yeah, so the eclipse is the 21st and the equinox is the 22nd. So these next few days is still gonna be a lot of washing machine. But hopefully everybody's animals are doing okay. There's been some crazy cases on that end too. I've had like 2 dogs show up with just like out of nowhere young dogs with full-blown metastatic lung cancer. Like, yeah. So there's been a lot of people checking out.
Well,
Yeah.
on a happier note, my greyhounds in North Carolina are both 13 days fully off drugs on my protocol. And now they're both healthy and eating and having energy again instead of dying and on drugs. Imagine that.
What did they have them on? Like
Oh, they
tranquilizers
had
or?
one of the girls, it was crazy. She went in for her 12-year-old greyhound, goes in for a wellness check, just annual wellness check. The vet, who's not a greyhound specialist, says, oh, her blood pressure's a little elevated and her kidney levels are a little off. I don't know if it's her heart or her kidneys. So he puts her on some kidney drug. I forgot the name of it at the moment.
They can't freaking diagnose.
They put her on amlodipine, and like, a week
Oh,
later,
that'll
like,
drop the blood pressure.
now she's not eating. So they put her on Entice. And then she must have an infection, although it's not showing up, and it must be
So
when it
you,
doesn't show up. So they
yeah.
put her on enrofloxacin. Oh yeah, that's really good. And then something else I forget. But anyway, that was the mess they presented to me. After 2 months on that, she wasn't eating. She hadn't eaten a meal in like 5 weeks. She was lethargic. They'd had
Yeah, because they don't even know what white cone syndrome is in dogs, that their heart rate and their blood pressure is going to go up because they're in the clinic.
oh no,
So
it
they
gets
put them
better
on
than
that
that.
lodipine, and I have an old-fashioned blood pressure cuff thing for animals with different size cuffs. And
Oh,
people will come to me with that all the time, and I'm like, they're just stop the, oh, we can't stop the amlodipine. I'm like, I will come over and we will measure the blood pressure in the comfort of your home, and the blood pressure will be so damn low, it's like, is the animal even alive, you
But
know?
Josie, it gets better than that. They called in Dr. Couteau, who is supposedly the country's foremost expert vet on greyhounds. He's the greyhound vet in the country. They call him in. He's doing consults with their vet. They wanted, then they wanted them, oh, they had, I don't know how many EKGs, they had all tests. Then they wanted to send her to an infectious disease specialist. And I said, oh, for
Oh,
God's sake, stop, stop.
Jesus.
So her vet finally said to her, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on. I'm confused. Maybe you should just take her off all the drugs and see what happens. But the woman was afraid to. She called me, and I started babying her through this whole thing. I held her hand and walked her through this whole mess, got her off the drugs, got her on. I gave her I gave her an alternative for everything the dog was on and all. I said, I don't think she has high blood pressure, and I don't think she's got kidney problems. But here are some nice natural supports for both of those. Get her off this crap.
The high kidney values, they forget that the kidney values can be raised from dehydration. I don't know how many cases have come to me that they're diagnosed with kidney failure, and I'm like, well, did they check for dehydration first? Get the animal rehydrated, and then let's see where the BUN and creatinine is?
Well, I
They
got
don't.
this dog
It's
on.
crazy.
I mean, I said, okay, you think she's got, oh, and then their other dog, the young dog, they thought they decided she had E. coli. No, nothing was showing up, mind you, but oftentimes it doesn't show up. So I got them both on chlorine dioxide. I said, I'll kill anything. E. coli, it doesn't matter. Get rid of that. Get her off all these drugs, get her on a good raw or gently cooked diet. And then let's do things like, give her maybe some hawthorn extract to support her cardiac function, and do a nice little liver and kidney flush and cleanse. And then because she was vomiting and whatnot, I said, well, yeah, it's like the side effects from all these drugs. So they put her on ion gut support. So that's what she's on. And now for 13 days, the dog has been not only eating 2 meals every day, but going into the kitchen and begging for treats, running around in the backyard, playing like her old
Like
self.
coming back to life.
She is. She's,
Because she has, like, her blood is actually pumping through
oh
her
my God. Well, and I said,
organs.
and as it's going to take a while to get all this crap out of her body, I mean,
Oh,
and in
jeez.
the process, they spent $7,000 between the
Yeah.
two vets. I charged her a freaking flat fee of $225 and fixed her
Oh
goddamn
my
dog.
God.
And now she had the nerve to
Mhm.
send me a text today and say, don't forget to send the information for Steve and your husband. They're both on like 7 or 8 drugs. They want me to get them off their drugs too. And I'm going, wait a minute, I draw the line. But anyway, we got 2 healthy dogs instead of 2 dying dogs again. So that was a happier note.
Yeah. No, that seems to be like the MO right now. That's the cases that are coming to me.
Oh,
It's like
I got you.
insane.
Did you see on Facebook today's
Um,
there? It's like the